Hello world, it's Sunday the 15th of January 2023 and we're looking at a forecast for soaring from Worcester tomorrow, Monday the 16th of January. But before we look at tomorrow, I'm just going to do a bit of a post-mortem on today's flying. Today all the tasks were cancelled, but some pilots did fly and a few actually managed to complete the task. But looking at this forecast again to try and figure out what actually happened, I think something that we didn't pay enough attention to was this wind shear at 4,500 feet, which is at the same height as the thermal top and at also the same height as the cloud base when the cloud formed. Now that would have interfered with the ridge lift on all of the major ridges, and that probably is why it didn't go so well after we started launching. Moving on to today, or tomorrow rather, Monday, we have a very hot day. Temperatures of, I think that's 36 or 37 degrees on the ground. Inversion at over 4,000 feet, 4,500 feet. We have this wind shear which is only at 3,500 feet, and these winds are light, so effectively no wind up until the wind shear level, and then it starts picking up with the northwester. But at 5 o'clock that temperature has dropped off significantly. It's only perhaps 32 or 33, and we have the southeastern nosing in. That's coastal air that's coming in close to ground level, and the wind shear again still at 4,500 feet. Let's have a look at the clouds. There's some cloud on the other side of the Worcester in mountains, and if we zoom out we will see that those clouds at 2 o'clock don't really affect our task area, but it would be quite nice to go deep into the Karoo. But I don't know if our task will go that way tomorrow. At 5 o'clock we can see the cloud moving in. It's low cloud on the Worcester in mountains on the far side. A little bit of cloud reaching Robertson, but that's still at quite high, 4,000 feet or so. And if we zoom out we will see that the ridge is mainly clear of cloud, and where it does reach it's still perhaps 3,500, 4,500 feet. So not impossible unless you go very far east. But this is a solid bank of cloud that's come all the way in from the coast. Looking at the winds, we have the southeasterly coming in up the valley. It's not very strong, and it's even lighter to the north. Zooming out we will see 2 o'clock the southeasterly on the eastern ridges, Swellendam getting a bit lighter as you go further east from there, and then blowing down the valley, light to the north, and around Worcesterhoek it's only 8 or so knots, so below 10 knots. By 5 o'clock this wind's picking up. That's the coastal wind coming in. You see it's quite significant, and that's now pulling maybe 15 knots. Still light to the north. And if we zoom out we will see that the strong coastal flow all the way along the Langeberg to the east of us into the Breda River Valley, but not to the north. So that brings us to some interesting dilemma as to which way to go, to the north or to the east. But let's first look at the east. I'm looking at Robertson once again, a hot day, 32, 33, and the temperature drops significantly by 5 o'clock with this coastal air coming in. It's definitely cutting off below 4,000 feet by 5 o'clock. Swellendam, the same, but starts off even lower and gets cooler. Once again drops from 30 to 27 or so, 3 degree drop. Riversdale the same pattern. Temperature drops, and then the inversion, the thermal tops also drop down to Riversdale that's below 3,500 feet. Looking to the north, Tulbagh starts off an extremely hot day with an inversion over 4,000 feet and very light wind. But at 5 o'clock it's even hotter and the inversion is higher, still light winds. Porterville, 4,000 feet inversion southerly onto the ridge, but not very strong, but it gets hotter and the wind gets stronger. Worcesterhoek, also quite easterly onto the ridge, but it gets hotter and more southeasterly as the day goes on. So to the east, while the winds are stronger and onto the ridge, the heights are very limited. To the north, it gets better as the day progresses, but the winds are light and not exactly on the ridge. So you will find that the ridges are not all that strong or all that fast, but it should be reliable, and a few more options if you need to stop and thermal. So not sure what we'll end up doing tomorrow, but it'll be an interesting day, an interesting task, and it'll be a good weather for the crew to spend the afternoon in the swimming pool. So please try not land out, fly carefully and have fun.